Nick Wilson with Dan Brownlie after the 5-4 FA Cup defeat at Stoneham, and Dan, having been 4-1 up, does that go down as the worst result since you've been manager of the club?
It's up there. It's up there with one of the worst I've ever had. Period. Like, amazing soak aside, it's an embarrassment. It really is. I'd love to dress this up. Like I class myself as quite a positive manager, and I like to find the positive in things where I can. But I'm really struggling with that today. Stoneham, cracking side, and I don't want this to sound like it's belittling their performance, because they didn't give in and we gave in. And frustratingly, what it felt like is we gave in at 4-1. We had the cigars lit out, and we weren't first to the ball, and we started giving sloppy balls away. The unforced errors were more so than I think I've ever had before. Defensively, all over the place. Midfielders didn't get on second balls. On the front three, okay, you can say they scored 4 goals, but even defensively, everyone's got a part to play. And I just felt today the game was open, the moments dropped to them in the second half, and we never recovered. So there's no dressing it up, but that was just an incredibly poor performance in a game that we knew it was going to be a challenge. We knew we were the favourites going in, and rightly so. But to put on that second half performance, and to be honest, like the first half as well, it wasn't squeaky clean. We took our goals in good moments, but even the last 15-20 minutes, when we kind of allowed them into the game a little bit, we were nowhere near the second ball, which we did so well in the first half. And we said right at the beginning of the game, don't get bored of doing the right things. Like, keep doing the right things. That's how you win these games, particularly these types. And we've not done that today, and we've come unstuck.
In 35-40 minutes, you look well in control and on for a good win. What changed between there and then what happened in the second half?
I'd love to tell you, Nick. It's something we'll do a deep analysis on, and as will the boys. Like we've got to ask a question of the boys, because you can't go from Monday's performance into that. Monday and the weekend, they've rightly got their plaudits, and they've put an incredible shift in over a really tough bank holiday with 2 difficult games. And this sets it up. Like if they'd have worked half as hard as they did on Monday today, we'd have had a really fun day today. Because you marry that up with the parts of the first half. Like, don't get me wrong, we've had some really good moments, but as I said to him now, that's what we expect of them. We're a good footballing side. We expect the front three to create good moments. That's what they're here for. We can't just say, oh yeah, because we scored 4 goals, defence have been rubbish. And don't get me wrong, the defence have been awful today. But it's a collective unit today. So there's no one singular thing, but I do think individual performance comes down to a lot to it. You could argue maybe at 4-1 we need to absolutely shut up shop, but even at that point, the gifted errors that we're given, I don't necessarily know how we combat that. But we'll look at ourselves like that. The first thing the management team are going to do, we're going to have a meeting now and go through it and work out what went wrong, and then we'll put it on the players, have a group discussion, and make sure that we don't have a repeat of it, because it's just an inexcusable performance, and it's made so much worse with the high of the weekend, and the fact that it's the FA Cup and a competition that we've failed to do well in, certainly since I've been here, and as a manager and as an assistant manager. I was speaking to some of the fans, we haven't had a run in it since the 90s, and for a club like Basingstoke, it's embarrassing, and we've added to that failure today.
A lot of the games in the league have been quite high scoring, but that's kind of in the way the league has been. But coming here today, that must set some alarm bells ringing. Yeah,
it does. Absolutely, it does. And the FA Cup does kind of weird things to games like that. I imagine, I haven't looked at any results, but I imagine across the country there's some high scoring results today. And conditions are tough, sticky wicket, hot day, open playing field, like it's one of them. But they've managed it, and we've not, and that's the reality of it. We just failed in every facet of the game today. They've wanted the last 15-20 minutes more, and that's what hurts most. Like, I pride my teams on that ability to want to win, and okay, doing it with a bit of style and a bit of class in terms of in front of goal and the way we moved the ball. But you saw Monday, it was led by a level of determination that was just unwavering, and today we're so far short of it, and I'm disappointed for everyone, because I don't get me wrong, I wasn't expecting to come here and just win. We knew we had to fight for it, but if we put on a performance, we should be beating Stoneham. That's the reality of it. They're a Step 5 team, a very good Step 5 team, and we wish them absolutely all the luck in the world in the next round, because they thoroughly deserve their place in it. But as the higher league outfit and the quality of players that we have access to, we should be winning games like that. So they'll absolutely enjoy their day, and they massively deserve that. And unfortunately, we've got to take a long, hard look at ourselves and sadly do the cliche, dust ourselves down and go into next week.
Throughout the second half, I know you said that defensively as a whole team thing, but a couple of members of that back four really looked to be struggling against the guys you were against. Was there a temptation to make the changes in those places?
Yeah, I mean, there's a temptation everywhere, but I guess the argument was we were losing that level of control in midfield, and that's why we made the subs. Like Louise hasn't played in God knows how long, and was starting to tire a little bit, and Cookie, as he'll own up, wasn't having one of his better games. So we made the substitutions in those areas, thinking if we control the middle of the park, the back four can readjust. But like some of the unforced errors that we had today, I just like I can understand one or two of them, but when there's 5 or 6 per player, I mean, I'm looking at the bench today and I've got 7 subs, and you can only use 3 of them. But my God, I think I'd have used every single one today. But look, everyone's accountable. The subs that are on the bench today, like we've all got to be better. We can all do stuff that can improve that performance in some capacity. So there are certainly no excuses from this side. We'll just have to be better. The frustration of it is that it's the FA Cup, you know, and you want to do well in that, and you have these memorable moments, and there'd be few and far between for me. I think I've had one occasion where, as a coach, we got within sniffing distance of the first round proper, but they don't come around very often. Like I remember speaking to Terry Brown about it. I said it in some notes that you probably get as a player about 10 goes at the FA Cup. It goes so quickly, and that's another one of them. So, yeah. Hugely disappointing. I can only apologise to the fans that braved today, and they should have been in for a good day at 4-1. And there's no real excuses for losing by 5. So it's apologies by my end, and the only apology that can come from the boys is a performance in the next game.
So what needs to happen now to regroup and go again for next weekend?
I'll give the boys their due. Like we've had situations like this before, and look, it's football. Like it shouldn't happen, and in the moment it feels really bad, and it is bad, and it shouldn't happen. But the reality of football is you do have performances like this. You don't want them, and when they've come, and they have been few and far between with this squad, they do react well. The training session is always good. They don't sulk, they don't moan, they get behind each other, and 9 times out of 10 we've put on a good performance. But as you've seen recently, good performances don't always mean results, so we've got to marry that up. Today we could have done with being a bit more dogged and not worried about the performance levels necessarily, just being a little bit more hard to beat, and unfortunately we were just toothless. And we've had a good spell last 10 minutes, but why are they going to come out at 5-4 up? So we can't even take much credit from that. So yeah, we'll regroup, we'll dust ourselves down, every cliche you want to throw at it, but ultimately it's everyone looking intrinsically at what they can do better, and there's a lot that we can do better. But we're not a bad team, you know, like this is the positive spin. Like we don't become a bad team overnight. The weekends, the way we played at the weekend is probably a closer testament to the way this group are. We just need to make sure that sort of performance is never repeated, and the way we combat that, and if we smell it and if we see it coming, what we do about it to make sure that we stop the rot and it doesn't happen again.
Thank you for your time, Dan. Cheers.
Thank you, Nick.